Did you know that our financial system is being restructured right now? And I don't want you to miss out on it. Let's talk about it. In order to talk crypto, we must first talk currency. Welcome to Montana Cash, where we glow up our face and our finances. I'm Hannah, and if you're looking for a place where we do makeup, talk money, and gain confidence, you're in the right place. I actually think we're ready to dive into what the power of cryptocurrency actually is, because it's not just some invisible money. If we looked at the United States many years ago, if I had a product or service, I could exchange my product or service for your product or service. This was called the barter system. There were no middlemen, and we would exchange goods or services with each other without any policies or processes. Sometimes this was a bit of an inefficient way to do things. The issue was there wasn't equal value assigned to each skill or service, so my skill or service didn't always equal your skill or service. For that reason, there was a little bit of a downside to the barter system. In addition, it wasn't always efficient to move things this way. So up comes the banking system, a centralized way of handling things to make it faster and more efficient. The only problem is control. The banks had the middleman. There was an organization controlling that money. You had to have approvals. Sometimes you didn't get approved. The banking system was a more centralized way of handling transactions. There were policies, there was support, but there was transaction fees, and there were lengthy pieces of paperwork and approval processes. So we went from being able to freely exchange products, services, and labor with each other without a middleman to having a middleman with rules. What cryptocurrency actually does is it takes the middleman back out, and it allows us to make meaningful exchanges, not just in our nation, but this time globally. This is what we're gaining from it. We're removing the middleman. That means we'll have fewer transaction fees, fewer rules and policies, but we'll also have the ability to exchange money with people quickly all across the world. This is the value of cryptocurrency. So with cryptocurrency, what's new and unique about it is it decentralizes everything, meaning that there is no nation that's in control of your money. There's no one organization that's in control of your money. Your money is now controlled by, everyone and no one, to be exact. It's actually controlled by computers who have rules. And in those rules, they understand how to execute on the release of money and how to make transactions. So now, not only are the transactions with people that are within your bank or within your country, these are now global transactions. And so this is basically like digital gold. So it's something for us to think about. We need to think about whether we want to be part of this as it's going on the uptrend or whether we want to miss out. And so now we have a new financial system. This would be cryptocurrency. Quick break. Strong money moves deserve a polished look. For that, we have Montana Cash Foundation in the shade Honey, along with Mega Concealer in the shade Honey. To finish your look, you're going to want to take it to the next level with loose setting powder in the shade Translucent. Get them in the link in my bio. And now, back to the money. Now, let's talk about when it began. Cryptocurrency began in 2009 with Bitcoin. What's the beauty of Bitcoin? Unlike the regular US dollar, there's only a limited amount of Bitcoin, 21 million to be exact, where we can print physical money, and that causes the value of the money to drop. Bitcoin cannot be printed. Therefore, the value of Bitcoin doesn't drop based on additional Bitcoin coming into the supply. Now, Bitcoin, much like the dollar, can still have a valuation change over time, But rather than the value of Bitcoin being driven by additional things being printed, we're looking at Bitcoin, and the value of Bitcoin actually changes based on market demand. There's still going to be some volatility with Bitcoin, similar to the volatility that we see in the dollar, but underneath that volatility that we're seeing with the dollar, we have people and systems that are changing the value by printing more money. Underneath the foundation of Bitcoin, we don't have anyone driving that, not one nation, not one government, not one system. Just rules. If those rules are plugged in, it's not going to be changing all the time. Now, what causes the volatility is still the market demand. But if we look at that, we still see that although there are sharp drops and increases in Bitcoin value, over time, there's a strong foundation at the bottom, and the foundation is that Bitcoin over time, if you hold it long enough, it still grows. And the value of that is that right now, we see that Bitcoin is in a low season. So it's a good time potentially to buy. If you wanted to get into Bitcoin, you could purchase a couple $100 worth at a time and grow your amount of Bitcoin over time. What's cool about it is it's not subject to inflation the way the US dollar is. The US dollar will go up and down based on when money is printed. So as more money is printed, the value of the dollar goes down. With Bitcoin, we only have a limited supply, 21 million to be exact. There is no increase or decrease based on money that is printed because it's not being printed. It's simply being exchanged between people all over the world. Essentially, if you have the internet, you have access to purchase Bitcoin. The other interesting thing about Bitcoin is that it gives us leverage, not just with digital money, but with digital assets. Stay tuned for more videos where we talk about that. But more importantly, it takes this middleman out of your financial transactions. So there's no more bank, there's no more contracts, there's no more specific paperwork. So it speeds the rate of your transaction, and it carves out all of the bankers and financial institutions who legitimately had control over everything that got approved. Now, when we need our money or need to exchange, we can go back to a decentralized way that's still grounded with rules and allows for global access and exchange. That is the value. But we'll talk more about the value in the next video. I want you to remember, it's important to buy Bitcoin when the price is low enough and when you think that you can see that coin appreciate in value over time. Don't forget, there's always volatility. So much like inflation with the dollar, we want to see that we're ready for the valuation change over time. The most important thing I want you to remember is, well, if your Bitcoin value drops, if you just hold on to it, you haven't actually lost your money. As long as it comes back up in value, you're going to be okay. So think of Bitcoin as a long-term asset rather than something that you would do with day trading. It's something that you would grab a hold of and you would hold it. And then in the next video, we'll talk about what you can do with it once you've held it long enough. So that's a little bit on cryptocurrency and a little bit on the beginnings of Bitcoin. If you like this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget, this is where you show up for more makeup and money. And now that we have a little bit of crypto and Bitcoin knowledge, I think we're ready for the big leagues. I actually think we're ready to dive into what the power of cryptocurrency actually is, because it's not just some invisible money. It is I won't get ahead of myself. Join me next time for Makeup and Money. Don't forget, guys, make money and do it beautifully. Bye.